Girivaradhari Gopi Janaballabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Junatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Chanda Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Chanda Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janarandana 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 Junatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudira Yet. Let's chant the Mangalacharana too, please. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Uta Padakamalam. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Miditam Dena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Adadhanastridam Danterdam Yache Punah Punah Srimad Rupa Padam Puja Dhulisyam Janma Janmani Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Uta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Dham Sajivam Sadvetam Sadvadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha Nama Shrishtam Manamapi Shachiputram Atra Swarupam Rupam Tasyagrajam Uruparim Maturim Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivaramoho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurun Tam Natosmi He Guru Jnanada Dinabando Swananda Data Koranaika Sindo Vrindavana Sinahitavatar Prasida Radha Pranaya Prasharo He Dinabando Koranaika Sindo Kuru Prasadam Maimanda Mudhe Laksha Paradhe Bahupapa Gadhe Tatpada Padme Stumatishta Krishne Prata Sriman Navadvipe Dvi Netram Dvi Bhujam Gurum Varabhaya param shantam smaritandam apurvakam Tvam gopika vishraraves tanayanti kesi sevadi karani guru nijapada padme Dasyam pradaya kurumam rajakanane Shri Radhangri sevana rase sukhinim sukhabdao Shri Guru Paramananda Primananda Padaprad Brajananda Pradhananda Sevayama Niyojaya Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Tinamine Shri Varshabhana Videvi Daitaya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayane Prabhave Namaha Madhuryo Jwala Premadya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Virudhapa Siddhanta Dvanta Harine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshad Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambhara Sambodhe Padambu Jayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sakchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gaura Viravaba Bhomestvam Nirdesta Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Sarvabhoma Shri Jagannathaya Te Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha Panchatattvatpakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatan Suratao Pangor Mamamanda Matergati Matsarvaswa Padambo Jao Radha Madana Mohana Divya Vrindaranya Kalpadrumada Srimad Ratnagara Singhasanastao Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devao Prishtali Bi Sevyamanao Smarami Shriman Rasarasaram Bhivam Shiva Tatatastita Karshan Venusvanergo Pir Gopinatha Shriyestunaha Etin Thakur Godiaki Karyachina Atmasad Etinera Charan Vandon Tine Murnad Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vande Nanda Vrajastrinam Padurinam Abhikshnashaha Yasam Hari Kato Gitam Punati Bhuvana Trayam Hantaya Madhur Abala Haridasa Varyo Yadrama Krishna Charana Sparsha Pramodaha Manam Tanoti Sahago Ganayos Tayor Yat Paniya Suyava Sakandana Kannamulai Vrindayai Tulsi Devyai Priyayai Keshavasya Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavatai Namo Namaha Sri Nishinga Jai Nishinga Jai Jai Nishinga Pralada Desha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringa Yada Yada Hitarmasya Glanir Bhavati Bharata Bhutanam Adharmasya Tadatmanam Srajamyaham Paritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Chaduskritam Dharmasam Stapanartaya Sambhavami Yuge Yuge Manmana Bhavamad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru Mami Vaishyasi Yuktvavam Atmanam Atparayanaha Sarvadharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Braja Ahang Twang Sarva Papebhyo Mukshayishami Mashuchaha Shushusho Shrajadhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Syan Mahatseveya Vipra Punya Tirtan Shevanat Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantaksto Hipatrani Vidunoti Suhritsatam Nashtra Praeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Utama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Tada Rajastamo Bhava Kamalo Bhadayaschaye Cheta Itera Navidham Stitam Sattve Prasidati Evam Prasanna Manaso Bhagavat Bhakti Yogataha Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangha Sajayate Vidyate Hridaya Grantis Chijante Sarva Sangshaya Shiante Chasya Karmani Drishta Eva Manishvare Malihai Kareshe Bijaropan Shravana Kirtana Jale Kareshe Chan Tahan Vistarita Hoy Pale Prema Pal Ihan Mali Sheche Nitya Shravanari Jal Vairagya Janija Bhakti Yoga Shikshart Kameka Purusha Purana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sharira Dhari Kripam Bhutir Yastamaham Prapadye Kala Nashtam Bhakti Yogam Nijam Ja Pradush Kartum Krishna Chaitanya Nama Avirbhutas Tasya Padaravinде Gadham Gadham Liyatam Chittabringa Ajanulambita Bujao Kanakavadato Sankirtanai Kapitaro Kamalaya Taksho Vishwambaro Dvijavaro Jugadharma Palo Vande Jagapriyakaro Karunavataro Chaitanya Krishna Chaitanya Gaurango Dvijanayaka Yatinam Dandinam Chaiva Nyasinam Chashromani Rakdambara Dara Shriman Navadipa Sudakara Prema Bhakti Pradashchaiva Shri Sachinandanastata Nityananda Vidhur Thendur Vasudha Prana Balava Janavi Jivatapati Krishna Prema Pradapabu Padmavati Sutta Shriman Sachinandana Purvaja Bhavonmato Jagatrata Raktagora Kalevaram Matsamo Nasti Papa Manaparadich Kashana Parihare Pilajame Kimbruve Purushottama Ivatinam Yata Yuni Yunam Cha Yuvatau Yata Mano Piramate Tadvan Mano Miramatan Twayi Pumaus Kalita Paranam Pumir Eva Valambanam Twayijata Paradhanam Twameva Sharanam Prabho Govinda Balabhe Radhe Prartaye Twamaham Sada Twadiyamiti Janatu Govindo Mam Twaya Saha Radhe Vrindavanadi She Karunamritavahani Kripayani Japadabja Dasyam Mayam Pradiyatam Nitai Namineche Namir Hate Sharamudyanam Dite Chere Nitai Namineche Namir Hate Sharamudyanam Dite Chere Nitai Namineche Namir Hate Sharamudyanam Dite Chere Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Gaur Premanande Haribo. We're continuing our reading of the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita in the Adi Lila, where we left off just recently. I think it was Wednesday. And here we are in the first chapter, text number 53. Ahamevasam evagre nanyad yat sarasat param paschad aham tare chachcha yo vishishyeta sosmyaham. Prior to the cosmic creation, only I exist and no phenomena exist, either gross, subtle, or primordial. After creation, only I exist in everything, and after annihilation, only I exist eternally. Purport. Aham means I. Therefore, the speaker who is saying aham, I, must have his own personality. The Mayavadi philosophers interpret this word aham as referring to the impersonal Brahman. The Mayavadis are very proud of their grammatical knowledge. But any person who has actual knowledge of grammar can understand that aham means I, and that I refers to a personality. Therefore, the personality of Godhead speaking to Brahma uses aham while describing his own transcendental form. Aham has a specific meaning. It is not a vague term that can be whimsically interpreted. Aham, when spoken by Krishna, refers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and nothing else. Before the creation and after its dissolution, only the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his associates exist. There is no existence of the material elements. This is confirmed in the Vedic literature. Vasudevo va idam agra asinna brahma na cha shankaraha. The meaning of this mantra is that before creation there was no existence of Brahma or Shiva, for only Vishnu existed. Vishnu exists in his abode, the Vaikunthas. There are innumerable Vaikuntha planets in the spiritual sky, and on each of them Vishnu resides with his associates and his paraphernalia. It is also confirmed in the Bhagavad-Gita that although the creation is periodically dissolved, there is another abode which is never dissolved. The word creation refers to the material creation because in the spiritual world everything exists eternally and there is no creation or dissolution. The Lord indicates herein that before the material creation he existed in fullness with all transcendental opulences, including all strength, all wealth, all beauty, all knowledge, all fame, and all renunciation. If one thinks of a king, he automatically thinks of his secretaries, ministers, military commanders, palaces, and so on. Since a king has such opulences, one can simply try to imagine the opulences of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When the Lord says aham, therefore, it is to be understood that he exists with full potency, including all opulences. The word yat refers to Brahman, the impersonal effulgence of the Lord. In the Brahma Samhita 540, it is said, Tad Brahma Nishkalam Anantam Asheshabhutam. The Brahman effulgence expands unlimitedly. Just as the sun is a localized planet with the sunshine expanding unlimitedly from that source, so the Absolute Truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead with his effulgence of energy, Brahman, expanding unlimitedly. From that Brahman energy, the creation appears just as a cloud appears in sunshine. From the cloud comes rain, from the rain comes vegetation, and from the vegetation come fruits and flowers, which are the basis of subsistence for many other forms of life. Similarly, the effulgent bodily luster of the Supreme Lord is the cause of the creation of infinite universes. The Brahman effulgence is impersonal, but the cause of that energy is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. From him in his abode, the Vaikunthas, this Brahma Jyoti emanates. He is never impersonal. Such impersonalists cannot understand the source of the Brahman energy. They mistakenly choose to think this impersonal Brahman the ultimate or absolute goal. But as stated in the Upanishads, one has to penetrate the impersonal effulgence to see the face of the Supreme Lord. If one desires to reach the source of the sunshine, he has to travel through the sunshine to reach the sun and then meet the predominating deity there. The Absolute Truth is the Supreme Person Bhagavan. As Srimad Bhagavatam explains, Sat means effect. Asat means cause, and param refers to the ultimate truth, which is transcendental to cause and effect. The cause of the creation is called the Mahat Tattva, or total material energy, and its effect is the creation itself. But neither cause nor effect existed in the beginning. They emanated from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as did the energy of time. This is stated in the Vedanta Sutra, Janmadya Salyata. The source of birth of the cosmic manifestation, or Mahat Tattva, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is confirmed throughout Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad-Gita. In the Bhagavad-Gita 10.8, the Lord says, Aham sarvasya prabhava. I am the fountainhead of all emanations. The material cosmos, being temporary, is sometimes manifest and sometimes unmanifest, but its energy emanates from the absolute, Supreme Absolute Lord. Before the creation, there was neither cause nor effect, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead existed with his full opulence and energy. The words paschadaham indicate that the Lord exists after the dissolution of the cosmic manifestation. When the material world is dissolved, the Lord still exists personally in the Vaikunthas. During the creation, the Lord also exists as he is in the Vaikunthas, and he also exists as the Supersoul within the material universes. This is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita 537, Goloka eva nivasati. Although he is perfectly and eternally present in Goloka Vrindavan, in Vaikuntha, he is nevertheless all-pervading, akilatma bhuta. The all-pervading feature of the Lord is called the Supersoul. In the Bhagavad-Gita it is said, Ahang kritsnasya jagata prabhava. The cosmic manifestation is a display of the energy of the Supreme Lord. The material elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, display the inferior energy of the Lord, and the living entities are his superior energy. Since the energy of the Lord is not different from him, in fact, everything that exists is Krishna in his impersonal feature. Sunshine, sunlight, and heat are not different from the sun, and yet simultaneously they are distinct energies of the sun. So, similarly, the cosmic manifestation and the living entities are energies of the Lord, and they are considered to be simultaneously one with and different from him. The Lord therefore says, I am everything, because everything is his energy and is therefore non-different from him. Yo vishishyeta sosmyaham indicates that the Lord is the balance that exists after the dissolution of the creation. The spiritual manifestation never vanishes. It belongs to the internal energy of the Supreme Lord and exists eternally. When the external manifestation is withdrawn, the spiritual activities in Goloka and the rest of the Vaikunthas continue, unrestricted by material time, which has no existence in the spiritual world. Therefore, in the Bhagavad-Gita 15.6, it is said, Yadgatva na nivartante tadama paramam mama. The abode from which no one returns to this material world is the supreme abode of the Lord. So this is important information because in order for us to point our attention in the right direction, we must have information of where we're going. Om tad Vishnu paramam param sada pashanti suryo divivachaksha tatam tavipraso vipanyavo jagravam sahasvindate Vishnu paramam param. Those who are great souls walk in this world, but they are clear about the goal. They know the param padam, the ultimate goal and resting place, that place where the Supreme Personality of Godhead resides eternally. And in the Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna says, Narupamasye hatato palabdyate nanto nachadir sampratishtha. He describes the material world as a place that is very difficult to understand. Narupamasye hatato palabdyate nanto You can't see the beginning, and you can't see the end, and you can't see the form. Na rupam aseha tatopa labhyate nanto nacharir nachasam pratishta ashvatameram suvaruda mulam asanga shastrena drutena chitva. So he describes the material world as ashvata tree. It's a huge banyan tree. So tree means, according to our acharyas, that it's here today and gone tomorrow. It's sometimes there and sometimes not there. And similarly, the material world is sometimes here and sometimes not here because it's manifest and then unmanifest. Therefore, Krishna gives this directive that you must cut down this strongly rooted tree by the weapon of non-attachment. Asanga shastrena. So asanga shastrena. Asanga means to not identify yourself with it. Understand that this material world is not your home. Asanga shastrena, and you can use that understanding as a weapon, a shastra. So there's two words, shastra and shastra. So shastra means the scriptures that give us direction of how to cut our attachment to the material world. And shastra means a sword or a physical weapon through which one goes into battle and fights with the enemy. So one implication of these two words and their meanings is that unless we follow the shastra, then we'll be afflicted by the shastra, or the weapon of the pains of the material world, afflicted upon us by the trident of Maya Devi herself. And Gajendra, in his prayers to the Lord, says it's very confusing. The situation in the material world is argued about endlessly. Some people say that you should embrace the world and get the most out of it you can, like Charvak Muni. He's one of the philosophers of India who indicate that since we're here in the material world and we have the opportunity, we should take advantage of it as much as possible and try to enjoy to the greatest extent that you can. You'll find this philosophy either directly or indirectly taught in various places around the world. And for instance, the ways in which we get education in order to get a job and so forth, so that we can earn and be good consumers and so forth, has a very subtle implication that the goal of life is simply to get set up so that we can go on with the American dream and own something, control something, consume something, and so forth. Well, you can. And don't worry about death, because at death everything's finished. And Gajendra goes on to say, some people say that the world's real, some say it's unreal, some say that you should take to the path of Nivriti Marg, which giving up the world, and some say you should take to the path of Pravriti Marg, or you should embrace the world and try to get as much out of it as you can. But then Gajendra confirms, or he comes to the realization that because I can't understand myself what the material world is, where it's come from, or what its purpose is, therefore I will take the opinion of the great acharyas. And that opinion is that this isn't your home. Don't try to stay here. You should transfer yourself to the spiritual world. Give up your attachment to the material world. This is parallel with Krishna's instructions in the Gita. Asanga shastrena dridhena chitva. So chitva means to cut something down, and dridhena means you should do it with great determination. You should have no doubt about it. Otherwise, Shukadeva Goswami says at the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj that people see the world, but they don't see it. Pashyanapina pashyati. You're looking around, you think you're seeing, but what do you actually see? We're in a faulty state of consciousness. Have you ever had a dream where you went to work and you were doing your work, or you went to school and you were doing your schoolwork in school? Any students here? Did you dream ever that you were in school taking a test? Well, then, did you get any credit for it? Or did you get overtime pay for your working in your dream? What a waste. And similarly, this waking consciousness that we're in and working, endeavoring in various ways is also ultimately a waste unless one connects it to the ultimate goal of life, param, going back to Godhead. So one should have this conception of life that I'm living in this world, kamasya nendriya pritir labo jiveta yavata, jivasya tattva jignasya narto yascheha karmavi. I'm living in a balanced way so that I can inquire, so I can go on and get my bhajan going. You have to get your bhajan on. So Krishna goes on to say, asanga shastrena jatena chitva, to tat padam tat parimargita vyam. So tat, you should know what tat is. Tat is a pronoun. It means that. It's pointing to something. And what's it pointing to? Tat, that which is real, that which actually exists. It's the abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Same as Om Tat Vishnu Paramam Param Sada. Tat, same. Om Tat Sat. What is real? What's that point that you should be focusing on? Tatapadam tat parimargita vyam means, parimargita vyam means you should go to great lengths to go on this journey. Pack up your stuff. We're going back to Godhead. Get your stuff mentally packed and in order, because every day counts on this journey. We have very little time, 100 years maximum, to get out of this situation, in the temporary situation in the material world. So don't linger. Pack your stuff and get on that parimargitavyam. Get on the marg and go for it. It's a complete path back to God. Parimargitavyam. Yasmin gata na nirvatanti bhuya tameva chadyam purusham. One should there, prapadye, surrender to that Supreme Personality of Godhead from whom everything else has emanated. That's the source of everything. So you can take shelter there. Nowhere else you can take shelter. That's why Shukadev Goswami describes the ways in which we try to find shelter in the material world as being fallible. We're taking shelter, he says, of fallible soldiers. Deha patra kalatradeshu atma saini susatsapi. So he says, we think of the body, we think of our family members, we think of our country, we think of our money, bank balance as some kind of protection. He says, but these are fallible soldiers, like the chokidar, who you pay for a whole 3 years every day. And then when the actual dacoit comes on the property, the chokidar runs away. I've seen this before. Where'd the chokidar go? How'd the dacoit get in? Chokidar ran away when you needed him. No offense to chokidars all over the world. Some of them are very brave, but you're not paying them that much that they're going to give up their life for you. So these fallible soldiers, when it comes down to it, they can't save you. They don't have the guts to actually save you, and they don't have the power to save you. Only Krishna can. So he says, the materialistic person is not seeing things correctly. Yes, you're looking around. Yes, you see images, but you don't understand them. You don't know what the goal of life is. So try to understand that. And part of that begins with understanding the source of everything. Where's it all coming from? And here this verse, aham evasameva agre nanyad yat sarasat param pashyada aham tari tasya yovashisheta sosmyaham. It's one of the Chatur Shloki Bhagavatam, one of the 4 important nutshell verses of the Bhagavatam, from which all the other verses emanate. And here it's described that everything's coming from an original source, and that's Krishna. He's the origin. He's the aham. And we should be very articulate about this. The more articulate you are about what the goal is, the more you can reach the goal. And if you have an amorphous goal, you're in trouble. Just like in strategic planning. If you don't start with the mission and the vision, if you don't know where you're going, then you're going to flounder and you're going to get mission creep. This whole material world and all our millions of lifetimes is basically mission creep gone awry. And we've got into a situation and we just keep trying various stopgap measures and we keep going further and further away. So when you get the human form of life, you have the opportunity to define your mission. So the Bhagavatam's helping us. It's saying, here is the target. Be very clear about it. Understand that your goal is a person. And the person is intelligent and has qualities and has shaktis and is telling you everything about it. And remember, that's what you want to aim for. And if you can do that, if you can articulate it and say, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then you can make progress. Otherwise, any kind of wispy or amorphous or very unclear declaration of the goal of spiritual life makes it practically impossible to explain to others in a reasonable way, what to speak of to oneself, and what to speak of actually going for something. You simply remain on the platform of the mind. And now we'll take a few questions in order to expand the subject matter and make it more understandable. Now I'm going to pull up my the Facebook points. I missed them this morning, but now I'm on it. So here we go. Okay, we're ready now. Sudhir Madhava Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada. A reflection and a question. In the beginning, Srila Prabhupada is saying experts in grammar, but he explained me so that was wonderful.
You know what? You're going to have to write your question in the text box because your internet is not strong enough to maintain a full sentence, and we're catching every fifth word, like jumping over the pond on different rocks. And so, could you write it in the box? Because I really want to hear your realization and what your question is.
Yes, Maharaj.
I can't hear you.
I'll do, Guru.
Okay, sorry about that.
Guru Maharaj, I have a question.
Yes.
When we say Brahma Jyoti, it is the effulgence that comes from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when I say Brahma Jyoti, this is coming straight from Golok Vrindavan, right? From the body of Krishna.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so when we talk of the spiritual abode and say that you get there and you never come back, we're talking about anything that's about the spiritual, that's into the spiritual sky. It could be Vaikuntha, it could be Ram's abode, it could be Krishna's, it could be any of them. But
Yeah.
the Lord himself, Vishnu, is an extension of Krishna. And if he's an extension of Krishna, just like one candle is similar to another, should he also not be excluding this Brahma Jyoti?
Yes.
So there are many candles lighting the Brahma Jyoti out there.
Yeah, but it's a misnomer or a mistaken idea to think that there are two Krishnas. They're all one, but they're manifested in various ways. That's his mystic potency. That he expands himself unlimitedly. Departure eva hida shantanama dipeta. It's all coming from one.
So he's the electricity generating center, and then everyone else is the bulb. All his other expansions would just be lighting from there.
Well, actually, each expansion is complete in itself. They have their own light. Departure even. It's saying that verses that there's one original candle, but all of them have the potency. It's not like the yogis who expand themselves, and it's like kind of a fake out. You know, you see all these images, but actually they're not as potent. So that's Krishna's amazing potency, that they all have the same potency. But trying to search back and say, well, wait a minute, the example falls a little short, because then we start to think in material terms through physics. How to understand how, okay, there's a light source here and a light source there. It's all coming from one person, but it's divided into many, many forms that he's manifesting simultaneously.
So this need for us to I've noticed a lot of times I hear a lot of questions about the very details and the particulars that are given in the Srimad Bhagavatam, exactly how far away, how deep is it, where the planets are situated. But in the end, Guru Maharaj, every time we come to this understanding that we really can't understand. We just
Well,
accept.
when Parikshit Maharaj asks about the universe, Shukadeva Goswami says, I'll tell you what I can, but it's unlimited. Even the material universe, what to speak of the spiritual world, is inconceivable. So it's not against the protocol of devotees to ask about details, and you'll see Parikshit and Vidura and others ask all kinds of details, but the answers are always couched in this idea that, well, it's unlimited, but I'll tell you what I can. So it's not that, otherwise, if we could circumscribe God and his energies, then he wouldn't be God, because that's one of the definitions is that he's ananta, he's unlimited. So how are we going to come to the end of it? You'd be very disappointed if you could actually come up with a formula that would say, this is it. So this is what Radhika Raman was pointing out, is that, we should come to that doorstep where the Supreme Personality of Godhead lives and then say, he's in there. We know him, we know who he is, but now we can't understand him. I mean, he's unlimited. Who can understand the unlimited? Even the unlimited himself can't understand his unlimited nature because he keeps expanding through his potencies. So how would we be able to understand? But that's the right place to leave one's inconceivability as at the lotus feet of a person. And this is one of the points of the Bhagavatam, is that if you come to this logical understanding that it's all coming from the original person, and then you ascribe this inconceivability at that point, then you've come to the right place of placing that conception of inconceivability.
So when I say Tattvam Pushan Apafurino, please remove this coverage, and I want to see you, will I see him the way I want to see him?
Yes, no. Actually, in the mood of when one begins to develop a relationship with Krishna through first associating with devotees and then following the process, taking the mercy through the Guru Parampara, going through Anartha Nivritti, coming to Nishta and then Ruchi, then there's a way in which within one's mind there's an idea that I want to worship Krishna in this way. And Rupa Goswami explains that actually that's coming from Krishna, although I conceive of it as coming from myself. After all, we're parts and parcels of Krishna, so it's not inconceivable that they could be coming, there's a confluence of his desire and our desire. But the point is that it's based in service, that we want to serve Krishna in a particular way, and he wants to be served in a particular way, so he accommodates. But the two, that they meet in the middle. It's not one or the other.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. That
Hare
was really
Krishna.
nice. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I really love the point where you mentioned about the Shastra is used as a Shastra. That's an amazing point. Never connected that before. That's very nice. And I also was wondering when Manjula Kanta was asking about the cosmology and things like that. I always thought that, just chanting and thinking about Krishna, why go in so much deep reading fifth canto, which we are half the thing you don't understand. I used to feel like that. But as a part of my Bhakti Vaibhava exam, when we did the whole fifth canto, I felt that it was, and my realization was deeper after understanding whatever little I understood from the fifth canto, that how great Krishna is and how minute I am. I felt that everything in Bhagavatam, even if you don't understand or you understand, it's so relishable because it actually gets you more closer to Krishna. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Yes, this is one of the points Prabhupada makes in the introduction to the Bhagavad-Gita, that we're interested in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, we're interested in the warriors there, the conch shells and all these things because they're related to Krishna. The Mayavadis will say, oh, we only like Krishna, we don't want to see, we don't want to hear about all these other things. But we understand that Krishna and his energies are important. They're not separable. And this is a point Prabhupada makes in this purport, that some try to separate Krishna from his energies and just say it's all one. There are no energies. So this is one of the major differences between the fallacy of Mayavad and the actual truth, which is that, as Prabhupada pointed out in the purport, when there's a king, when you say king, you understand that there's an entourage that comes with a king. Where is there a king without a kingdom? Where is there a king without a queen? Where is there a king without, the people who, play the trumpets and the panegyrists who glorify him when he comes out of the palace, and all of the ways in which he exerts his energy? There's no meaning to king in a vacuum. And so similarly, when Krishna says aham, and you can understand that he is the only one who can rightfully say aham, because that's the original person. Everybody else is a relative person, because we all emanate from Krishna and therefore are dependent upon him. And when we understand that Krishna means Krishna and his energies, then we can also be Krishna conscious even in the material world, as Krishna points out in various places in the Bhagavad-Gita. Like the 7th chapter, Krishna says, aham bija prata pita, I'm the seed, I'm the seed. And he says, rasoham apsakunteya prabhasmi shashishuryo. So he says, I'm the taste in water. And Prabhupada points out in his purport that when a devotee drinks water, he's feeling this sense of gratitude to Krishna, and he's thinking, wow, Krishna's so kind, he's given me this water to sustain my life, quench my thirst, and the taste, he's feeling, oh, that's Krishna. And prabhashmi shashishuryo, the light of the sun, he's seeing, oh, that's Krishna. Because the energy and the energetic are one. At the same time, they're separate. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Maharaj.
Hare Harival.
My obeisances to you and to all the Vaishnavas of ISV. So I have a technical question regarding studying and reciting the Shastras. And specifically when we do it in the early morning. So like my understanding that there is a power, let's say, of purifying when we recite the shlokas in Sanskrit. And there is this, purification happening on a mental level also when we read it in English and understand, so to say, the meaning of the Shastras. So is this correct? And, because we notice the difference during the day on our mental state when we read the Bhagavatam in the early morning. So I don't want to say like which is more important, but which is more important? Is it the Sanskrit or the English or both of them? Is it the sound vibration or the mental understanding of the shloka?
Well, they're both important. As you're surmising, they're both important. And the ways that there is potency in every syllable. This is pointed out in the Gita Mahatmya, that Lord Shiva is saying, if you chant one verse, no, just half a verse, even one line, no, even one word, it has potency. And Sanatana Goswami says the same thing in the it is Krishna, anyway, I can't remember the name of the book. He says that every syllable of the Bhagavatam is pouring down nectar. So, yeah, it's there. At the same time, we should come to know what it means. If we just recite in a parrot-like way and we're not even thinking about the meaning and it's not invoking something, like recently a devotee wrote me and was talking about reading the introduction to the Brahma Samhita and just setting the scene for that book and understanding Brahma and having this revelation of seeing the spiritual world and understanding how it's made of Chintamani and so forth, and understanding that rather than just saying the Sanskrit evokes this sense of connection to Krishna. So we should do both. And I find in a very practical way that either way you start, if you get some momentum, you're going to, it's one way or another, you can start to get close to these verses and imbibe them. So if you start with the Sanskrit, then oftentimes you start to get curious. What was that verse about? I mean, it's really hard to read Prabhupada's books without seeing everything because he put everything in front of us. They're the words for word, the translation, then he gives all the commentaries. So it's not that you can just go into the books and totally isolate and only learn the Sanskrit. And Prabhupada wasn't so much in favor of that also. In Dallas at the Gurukul in 1975, some of the kids came before him and they had learned many, many chapters of the Gita. So the teacher had them recite all these verses. And then Prabhupada asked one of the kids, what does it mean? And he said, I have no idea. And Prabhupada said, that's not very good. You should learn that also. So both things are important. Thank you for asking as a very practical, important question.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a few here coming in. Sudhir Madhava said, reflection, Srila Prabhupada says that Mayavadis are usually experts in grammar, but the very word aham refers to a person. I like that. Lekha says in chapter 9 of Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna tells how he is present everywhere, yet he is aloof. Could you please elucidate on that? Doesn't he reciprocate back to us? What exactly is the context of Krishna staying aloof mean here? Well, in the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, for instance, Krishna says, Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadavyaktamurtina matstani starvabhutani nachaham teshu avastita. He says that paradoxically, I'm here, but I'm not here. So Prabhupada gives the example of in that verse, of the owner of a company. He or she may have a huge company, and then there's all these factories, and there's workers, and the assembly line going, but that owner is somewhere else. Maybe he's on an island somewhere, and all the energies are all working, but he's aloof, sitting on the island, looking at the screen and counting all his money. So Krishna creates everything. He puts everything into motion through his energies, but he's not directly involved in it, even though they're his energies, and he is non-different from his energies. So simultaneously one and different. Another question, Sudhir Madhava says, we heard that in order to reach the sun, one has to go through the sunshine. So a devotee has to advance through the Brahman realization in their journey. No. If you go to the Mahamantra as given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then you surpass these stages of going through Brahman realization, then Paramatma, and then coming to the Bhagavan realization. This is also mentioned, by the way, in the Yoga Sutras by Patanjali. When he describes Ashtanga, you have to go through many stages in Ashtanga. Yam, Niyam are the two beginning stages, which means, first of all, you have to become morally integral. You have to have integrity morally. And then you also have to follow various restraints, no lying, no cheating, no illicit sex, things like that, in order to come to the Sattva Guna, in order to progress further and further. In the Yoga Sutras, Patanjali says, in your practice of Ashtanga Yoga, if you come to what he calls Ishvara Pranidhan, which means recognizing Ishvara, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and surrendering to him, then you bypass so many of these steps. It's like a shortcut. So similarly, the shortcut in Krishna consciousness is that chanting Hare Krishna brings you right to Krishna, Bhagavan. Na Brahma Sakshat Kritanishchayapi Vinashamayati Vinana Bhogai Apaiti Nama Spuranina Tate. This is a verse from Rupa Goswami's Namashtakam. He says, by the direct process of Krishna consciousness through chanting Hare Krishna, then your prarabdha karma is destroyed. And he said those who go through the impersonal process, they may eventually get rid of their karma, but they still have to suffer it in this lifetime to come to that point. But those who go directly through the process of bhakti, through chanting the holy name, can go directly there. Prabhupada says many pointed things about that, actually. Chitralekha Saki, Hare Krishna. She says, how can I know if I am sincere in my spiritual life, not just taking shelter because of feeling the pinpricks of the complex material energy? So often I feel I am just doing what I know I should do with genuineness missing? Well, whatever way you can go from whatever position you're in is okay. Do what you can with what you have. First of all, if you ask the question, how can I become sincere, then you're already sincere. I hate to break it to you, but that's a fact. Prabhupada writes in a letter that Satyadeva Prabhu and I read many years ago and were amazed at. Prabhupada said, the desire to be a pure devotee is synonymous with being a pure devotee. So there's this way of touching that wire of sincerity to Krishna. If I'm just thinking, I wish I could be sincere, that's a form of sincerity. It's connected. It's just a matter of degrees of absorption. And there are various motivations. Bhaktivinoda describes how there's a hierarchy of motivations. So the lowest is called, he says, the lowest of all is fear. I'm doing it out of fear because I'm afraid of the reaction in the material world. Well, that's legitimate. If you become intelligent and you understand, you have vivek or discrimination, and you say, wow, I really took a wrong turn. I'm in the material world, and I understand now that there are consequences. It's just like during this virus. It's a invisible force that's around us. All we do is hear about how it has an effect, and people say wear a mask and stay 6 feet away, wash your hands all day long until they become dried and cracked up, but then we become aware of the fact that there's cause and effect, and we start to see that, wow, if I go out into a crowd with no mask and I don't take precautions, there could be a dire result. And similarly, some people become aware that the material world, every move I make, actually, the subtle thoughts that I have there, these are karmic reactions, and they're implicating me more in the material world. So the child in the womb, for example, prays to the Lord that I'm in a really precarious situation. There's a sense of fear there, that I don't want to stay in the material world, and I'm in a tough spot. If one performs devotional service from this position, that's okay. This is based on discrimination, that I've understood my situation. Most people are so foolish they don't even understand. They just keep driving with their eyes blindfolded and create more and more karma. That's the first level of motivation. The next level of motivation is called prospect. What am I going to get? So, there's this sense that, well, I want something out of this. So I'm doing it, but I want to see what I get in return. Well, Shukadeva Goswami says, akama sarva kamo va, moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. So what? You might want something. Dhruva Maharaj wanted something, and the Bhagavatam says he's a great soul. Krishna says it also. He says, Chaturvida bhajante mam jana sukritino arjuna arto jignasa artarti jnani cha bharatarshaba. 4 kinds of people approach me with different motivations. Some want wealth, some want to get free from miseries, some are jnanis, and others, their knowledge of the absolute truth. But all of them, he says, are pious souls. And Bhagavatam, Shukadeva Goswami says, so what? You're motivated, just at least approach Krishna. Prabhupada tells a story. He says there was this thief, and he had these habits, of stealing all the time. He just couldn't get it out of his system. But he became a devotee, and he joined the yatra. And they were going on pilgrimage, so they stopped in one place. And that night, he woke up at midnight. He said, I got to steal something. I can't stand it anymore. But he thought, I don't want to get the reaction, so he went around to all the rooms where all the pilgrims were staying, and he took the luggage out, and then he moved one person's bag to another person's room and another person's bag into another room. And when everyone woke up, they said, where's all my stuff? I got the wrong bags here. And he admitted, he said, I'm a thief, but I couldn't steal your stuff, but I had to do something. So I moved everything around. And so different kinds of people come to Krishna consciousness with different motivations. But because they're coming to Krishna, they get purified. Above prospect, there's duty. And I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do. And this is in the mode of goodness, sattva gun. But then the highest motivation is love. And this is above sattva gun. It's spontaneous, that I just love Krishna. So I'm doing it because I love him. So any way that one is motivated to move forward in Krishna consciousness, take that, and at the same time, keep the prayer going to let me purify my desire and let me continue to be more and more sincere as I go forward. Alex said to everyone, can you please speak more about Tivrena Bhakti? Tivrena Bhakti is described Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmanyanavratam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhaktirutama. So there's the process of devotional service is defined in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Srila Rupa Goswami, and he says that the pure devotional service, or Tivrena Bhakti, is bhakti that doesn't, in which one doesn't feel I need to depend on any other method. I'm simply depending on the process of devotion, pure devotional service, beginning with Shravanam Kirtanam and going on Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Bandhanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. And one is developing this kind of sense that Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kohe Sudridadnaschoy Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. There's an abiding faith that if I just do this, if I give myself to this direct process of devotional service, iti pumsarti pita Vishnu bhaktis chen navalakshana bhakti, these 9 processes, and I'm deciding ahead of time I'm doing it just to please Krishna, then this is Tivrena Bhakti, that I don't need any other thing to support me. And so I know everything else is done. I don't miss anything else. And I give my full attention to this, boiling down to the 5 most potent forms of devotional service: living in the Dham, chanting Hare Krishna, associating with devotees, worshiping the deities, chanting Hare Krishna. And I know that if I stick to these, no matter what else is happening in my life, I'll be on the right track, and Krishna, I'll be connected to Krishna favorably. So this is just a thumbnail sketch of Tivrena Bhakti. And Bashar says, for one who's serious in advancing and spreading the messages of Lord Chaitanya, how important is it to memorize shlokas, either those who give instructions or shastra in a prayer mood? Very important. You should back up what you say with shastra. You may not know the whole verse and be very eloquent, but you should know where it is at least and be able to refer to it. Some people have, some people can automatically play music when they're born and they know, and other people can't, but they're articulate in another way. Some people, shlokas just flow through their brains and they're able to pronounce them and all kinds of things according to their culture, their birth, their brain. But you should know the Shastra. You should know where things are, what Krishna says in the Bhagavad-Gita, what the Nectar Devotion says. There's only a few books. And so, if you learn those well, then you'll have a basic understanding of Vaishnava philosophy, which is really important for spreading Krishna consciousness, because you have to know what you're talking about. And not only for yourself to have faith in the process, so it's not niyamagraha. I'm not just doing it because everyone else is doing it. I'm not doing it because it sounds like a good idea. I have a clear idea of why it makes sense. And also, if you want to explain it to other people, you should be able to refer to Shastra, because Shruti Smriti Paranadi Panchatriki Vidimbina Aikantiki Harer Bhaktiru Patayaiva Kalpate. You perform devotional service that's not in accord with the Shruti, Smriti, Panchatriki Viti, and so forth. It becomes a disturbance to society. And a subtle disturbance to society is when people take to devotional service and they're not precise in describing why they're doing something or understand why they're doing something. And there are many ways in which we can start adding things in that didn't come from our sampradaya, or omitting things and not knowing why we're doing it. So we're in a particular sampradaya. We're following down in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and his disciples enumerated the teachings and elaborated upon the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu specifically so that we could take advantage of them. And so one of the distinctions between a serious and progressive devotee is that he or she knows the teachings of the Goswamis. And then those who are sahajas, they, I don't need all these shastras. I just feel it, and I'm chanting always in my heart and so forth. And this is not the mood of Prabhupada, for sure. And he started Bhagavatam classes, and he wanted devotees to sit around and discuss. In fact, when I joined Krishna Conscious, we had 5 classes a day. 5 classes. There was not just Bhagavatam class. We had Krishna book, we had Nectar Devotion, we had TLC. It was all day long. We'd stop and have a class, have another class, have another class. Prabhupada wanted us to read the books and understand them very clearly. At the same time, if somebody is doing practical devotional service, doesn't have a high propensity for memorizing shlokas and hearing so much philosophy, that person will also advance in devotional service. But we should, through that method of hearing from others who are speaking in detail about the philosophy, such a person will not only imbibe the philosophy, but will realize it based on Yasya Devi Para Bhaktir Yata Devi Tata Guru Tasyaite Katita Hyarta Prakashanti Mahatmana. If you have firm faith in Krishna and in the Guru, then when you perform your devotional service, you'll have some understanding of the import of Vedic knowledge. So it's not that somebody who's more inclined towards practical devotional service is going to be bereft. But such a person should also hear. Prabhupada mentions in the 8th canto of the Bhagavatam that Vedic culture means that people would get together before they go to work and hear, and after they'd come back from their work in the agricultural fields, then they would sit down and they would hear Bhagavatam again before going to sleep. Not watching, I don't know what the shows are these days. When I grew up, it was Peyton Place or something like that, as the world turns. You have to hear Bhagavatam. You have to hear about Prachina Barishat. You have to hear about Krishna's pastimes and Narada's liberating Nalakuvera and Manigriva, and all these details have to go in the ear. Because once they go in, even if you're not memorizing everything and knowing and learning all the shlokas, then that will go in and it'll be effective. Okay, off my soapbox. Let me see what else there is. I'm moving over here to Facebook. Divyanand Prabhu says, in relation to all kinds of people coming to Krishna and being purified, I thought of below one verse from Bhagavatam. Akama sarvakamava. Perfect. You're right on the vein, Divyanam. Sringara Ras Devidasi says, Haribol Sringara Ras, thanks for joining us. I heard Radhika Raman Prabhu in his lecture that when Prabhupada writes about Mayavadis, they're actually meant for our own purification. While I can notice many impurities in my own heart, but some I am not able to relate to. So does it mean that I have all of them, but just unaware of those? How do we understand these statements in perspective? When Prabhupada writes about Mayavadis, they're actually meant for our own purification. Well, I could just say in a general way, give an example. When you start to clean up your room, for instance, I've been sitting in this room for the last 3 months, the last time I checked, and trying to organize things in here. And it's a pretty unlimited project. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. And, at first, yeah, it's pretty organized. It looks pretty good. But then when I start going through drawers and cabinets and things like that, it goes, it telescopes out, and it's more and more and more. So in a similar way, when we actually start looking into anartha nivritti and being serious about it, like devotees, Raghunath Das Goswami wrote a whole book about it, about what anartha nivritti means and what the subtleties are that we should be looking for. It really gets more and more subtle, and you realize that there's a lot of work to do here. So you clean the room, and then when I clean the room, and then I really do a good cleaning, I get on the floor and I start looking at the corners, and I think, wow, there's dust down there way in the corner. It's behind things. So if you want to do a thorough cleaning, you have to follow Lord Chaitanya's lead in cleaning the Gudicha temple. He did it 3 times, cleaning the temple, and then he cleaned outside so nothing got dragged back in. So you have to be meticulous. And let's see, Rajesh, Prabhu, do we get a spiritual body in Goloka Vrindavan? Yes, you do. You get a spiritual body. That's all there is in the spiritual world, spiritual bodies. You'll see a very, if you want a very clear description of the ways in which devotees get a spiritual body in the Bhagavad-Gita, you can read several passages about Gopakumar and his disciple meeting Krishna in the forest, but before they do, they notice that their bodies have changed. They're not the same material body, but they've changed into spiritual bodies. The material body is just a temporary vehicle that we've inhabited. It's completely different from our real nature. It's not even made of the same substance we are. Spiritual body is altogether natural, and that will come in due course of time by the practice of devotional service. After all, how can you do eternal devotional service to the Lord without an eternal body? Because these bodies fall apart, and it's really hard to do service 24 hours a day, isn't it? You got to sleep, got to eat, got to eliminate all these types of things. What a hassle. Sukanti Gaurangi said, if you have an amorphous goal, you're in trouble. Define your mission. Yes. Vamshuli Prabhu said, sometimes it's easy to become cold or artificially detached while trying to live in this world, but not be of it. How to overcome this situation. In other words, how to be detached truly without showing off negativity on our immediate circle. This is comes through realization, and there may be a misunderstanding of what detachment actually means. So we have to look into what non-attachment means. There is no such thing as non-attachment for the soul. It's a misnomer. We're always attached. Nahi kashit shanamapi jatutishtat karma karyate hyavashak karma sarva prakriti jarguna. First of all, we're always active and interested. As soon as we lose interest in something, as soon as we lose our ambition, we're not living beings, but we're always living beings. It may be artificially suppressed for some time due to the mode of ignorance, but it will spring back as soon as we're given the opportunity to move out of that mode of ignorance. So that's our eternal position, and there's no time at which we're not attached. If we take to the position of non-attachment in a vacuum, it's artificial and will snap back to our attachment eventually. That's why the Bhagavatam says, Yene ravindaksha vimuktamaninas tvayastabhavara vashudha budaya aruya krishnena parampadam tata patantyato nadrita yushmarangraya. Whatever kind of liberation from the material world you think you've attained by your own endeavors, by artificial detachment and so forth, will snap right back if you haven't attained attachment to Krishna. And so it's not really about being detached, but it's about transferring our attachment to the right place. And when we do that and we understand Yukta Vairagya, or utilizing everything in Krishna's service and for his pleasure, then we develop a kind of detachment that also accommodates our movement through the material world in a practical way. In other words, for example, let's just say that you're a family person and you're living with others. So if you have a clear idea that all of these family members are actually parts and parcels of Krishna, and my duty is to show a good example, to help them also develop Krishna consciousness, and that these people are dear to Krishna and so forth, then we would think in ways in which to accommodate them both in their body and minds and spirits as at the same time. So the Bhagavatam, 7th canto on Varnashrama says for a Grahastha, let's just say a Grahastha man who's living in a family, it says, Bhagavatam says, Narada is speaking, that if such a person becomes cold and indifferent to his family members as a means of showing detachment, that they won't be able to survive because they depend on the affection and the attention and appreciation on even a mental or bodily level that person will provide, just as much as they depend on food. And so you wouldn't starve them and not give them food because we're going to be detached now. That's an artificial understanding. Therefore, a person should balance in the world and do one's duty, understanding that people have particular needs that have to be fulfilled. I was thinking about this the other day. You know this hierarchy of needs? I believe, is it...
I think it's Maslow.
Yeah, Maslow. So Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I was driving home from somewhere, believe it or not, first time I've been in my car for a long time. And I was very, very hungry. And then I was thinking that, if you're very hungry or there's some bodily urge that's so strong, like hunger, or you're really, really tired or something like that, the first thing you think of is eating. It's not... chanting or something like that. In a similar way, in a systemic way, our lives have to have some basis of a satisfaction in order for us to practice Krishna consciousness. Jivasya tattva jignasya means you have to live in such a way that you're balanced so that you can inquire about Krishna. So detachment in a family setting doesn't mean that all of a sudden you become a tough guy and you tell everybody, I don't love you anymore because I'm such a renunciate. That's artificial. It won't work. But you should understand that there's a way to integrate yourself into the world, into your family, in a practical way so that everyone is satisfied and it's a natural state of life, and at the same time cultivate Krishna consciousness. So both things have to go on, and it's more internal than it is external. And if you're very demonstrative about renunciation and enforce it upon others, it won't go off very well. I'm going to read your question one more time to make sure I answered it. Sometimes it's easy to become cold and artificially detached while trying to live in this world but not be of it. How to overcome this situation? In other words, how to be detached truly without it showing off negatively on our immediate circle. One of the ways is to really remember what the Bhagavatam says about artificial detachment and how it's not beneficial. So first of all, give yourself permission to interact with people, because Bhagavatam doesn't say that you should simply become artificially detached. But at the same time, you have to, in the environment of family members, have some kind of basis through which you all connect to Krishna. And that was mentioned earlier, that if you're in a family situation and you hear and chant together, then there's a natural way in which that vibration infuses the family relationships, and devotees start to develop on their own. It's not artificial, it happens systemically. Okay. Oh, Dennis and Corina, about memorizing, I would like to share this idea. Maybe you like it. I'm looking at the idea. How to remember anything forever-ish. In Greek mythology, Mnemosyne, I can't pronounce Greek, but he says the goddess of memory was the mother of the muses, the goddess of inspiration. So how's memory and inspiration doing in schools? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, not only are common practices like lectures, cramming, and rereading boring science has shown they don't even work well. But what if I said that there's a way to learn that's evidence-based and fun? What if I say there's a memory card game you can play for 20 minutes a day to store anything you choose into long-term memory forever until you die? And the name of this game is, now you really got my attention, Spaced Repetition, and it's awesome. I started using spaced repetition earlier this year to learn French. In 2 months, I learned more words than I did in 2 years of high school French classes. Since then, I used spaced repetition to remember all sorts of things: ukulele, computer, friends' birthdays, anything interesting, and this little memory card game became a core part of my life. In short, spaced repetition equals testing plus time. You test yourself on a fact repeatedly, spacing out your repetitions over time. But won't this take forever? As we'll see later, there's a trick. Spaced repetition is free, evidence-based, and so simple you can do it with a shoebox. So what's the catch? Why isn't everybody already doing spaced repetition? And she says, Nikki, shut up. Well, the catch is that making any new habit is hard, especially a weird habit like spaced repetition. That's why I made this badly drawn interactive comic. In this comic on spaced repetition, I'll show you why it works, how it works, and help you get started with it today. Okay, there's a lot more I see coming. I think this is, let's see the formula. I think maybe, I didn't want to go down forever, but let's see, spaced repetition. Try to recall, then flip the cards. Okay, well, if anybody wants to go back and look at the rest of it, I think it's a good idea. Spaced repetition. I think Vrinda's doing that. She's been writing things on cards and carrying them around with her, and it's something I've always noticed, that if I'm learning a verse, then if I try to remember it and I test myself on it, I'll notice where there are gaps. And then if I go back and look at it again in different circumstances over time, that's what starts to fill in the gaps. Let's ask Vrinda if she's doing that with her cards. Where is she?
Yeah, she's not in this meeting, I think.
Oh, okay. She was there. She was there for japa, so that's why I was thinking she was there. Okay, spaced repetitions. There's so many questions coming out now that it's hard to know where to go. Nahush Joshi, if I may ask a question, I'm trying to keep a spiritual journal so I can track and help make progress in Krishna consciousness. Can I ask what topics or subjects should I cover in maintaining a journal in order to make progress in a steady and progressive ways? That's a big topic, but a few are daily sadhana, and then you can make goals in those different categories. Goals for your chanting, goals for your reading are two very important things so that you maintain steady daily practice. Let's go back to the purports, because I'm feeling overwhelmed by so many questions, and I want to hear a little more from Prabhupada's voice. So the next verse, Ritirtamya pratiyeta na pratiyeta chatmani tadvidyaratmano mayam yatabaso yatatamaha. In the previous verse, okay, what appears to be truth without me is certainly my illusory energy, for nothing can exist without me. It is like a reflection of a real light in the shadows, for in the light there are neither shadows nor reflections. Purport. One second, I have to move this thing. In the previous verse, the absolute truth and its nature have been explained. One must also understand the relative truth to actually know the absolute. The relative truth, which is called Maya, or material nature, is explained here. Maya has no independent existence. One who is less intelligent is captivated by the wonderful activities of Maya. But he does not understand that behind these activities is the direction of the Supreme Lord. In the Bhagavad-Gita 9.10, it is said, Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. The material nature is working and producing moving and non-moving beings only by the supervision of Krishna. The real nature of Maya, the illusory existence of the material manifestation, is clearly explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. The absolute truth is substance, and the relative truth depends upon its relationship with the absolute for its existence. Maya means energy. Therefore, the relative truth is explained to be the energy of the absolute truth. Since it is difficult to understand the distinction between the absolute and relative truths, an analogy can be given for clarification. The absolute truth can be compared to the sun, which is appreciated in terms of two relative truths, reflection and darkness. Darkness is the absence of sunshine, and a reflection is a projection of sunlight into darkness. Neither darkness nor reflection has an independent existence. Darkness comes when the sunshine is blocked. For example, if one stands facing the sun, his back will be in darkness. Since darkness stands in the absence of the sun, it is therefore relative to the sun. The spiritual world is compared to the real sunshine, and the material world is compared to the dark regions where the sun is not visible. When the material manifestation appears very wonderful, this is due to a perverted reflection of the supreme sunshine, the absolute truth, as confirmed in the Vedanta Sutra. Whatever one can see here has its substance in the absolute. As darkness is situated far away from the sun, so the material world is also far away from the spiritual world. The Vedic literature directs us not to be captivated by the dark regions, tama, but to try to reach the shining regions of the absolute, yogi dham. The spiritual world is brightly illuminated, but the material world is wrapped in darkness. In the material world, sunshine, moonshine, or different kinds of artificial light are required to dispel darkness, especially at night, for by nature the material world is dark. Therefore, the Supreme Lord has arranged for sunshine and moonshine. But in his abode, as described in the Bhagavad-Gita 15.6, there is no necessity for lighting by sunshine, moonshine, or electricity, because everything is self-effulgent. That which is relative, temporary, and far away from the absolute truth is called Maya, or ignorance. This illusion is exhibited in two ways, as explained in the Bhagavad-Gita. The inferior illusion is inert matter, and the superior illusion is the living entity. The living entities are called illusory in this context only because they are implicated in the illusory structures and activities of the material world. Actually, the living entities are not illusory, for they are parts of the superior energy of the Supreme Lord and do not have to be covered by Maya if they do not want to be so. The actions of the living entities in the spiritual kingdom are not illusory. They are the actual eternal activities of liberated souls. I just want to add a little bit more to my answer to Vamshuli Prabhu about artificial renunciation. I was thinking about it for a second there. And that is that artificial really means that which is detached from the purpose of serving Krishna. As in this verse we just heard, Ratertam yat pratyeta na pratyeta chatmani tad vidyarat manomayam yatabaso yatatama. When things are detached from Krishna, and we attach to Krishna through service, then there's darkness and there's artificiality. So in the sense of renunciation, if we're renouncing for any other purpose except incidentally in our service to Krishna, then it becomes artificial renunciation. It won't last, and nor will it have the desired effect. And Prabhupada says elsewhere that anything done artificially will not have the desired effect. Keep that in mind. So in a family context, it's more effective to think in terms of how can I be of the best service here spiritually, rather than to think how can I be detached from the family. That's artificial. Your family is they're parts and parcels of Krishna. Even if they're not devotees, they're parts and parcels of Krishna. So you should think, how can I serve them in the best possible way? And if that's your motive and you're thinking of serving Krishna, then your detachment will be effective and it will have the result that you're looking for. Otherwise, it becomes cold, calculated, and there's darkness because it's not connected to the idea of service to Krishna. So devotional service is immediately effective because it's like turning on a light. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught this verse to Sanatana Goswami, in which he says that Krishna Surya Sama Maya Haya Andakaran, that where there's Krishna, there's light. And where there's no Krishna, there's darkness. Therefore, what's the formula? It's too simple. Bring Krishna. So in all circumstances, see the connection to Krishna, and the way to connect to Krishna is through service. Be thinking always, how can I serve Krishna in this circumstance? And if you think like that, then the light comes on. Let's see if there's any last questions from the Zoom room.
I was just reminded.
Can I ask a question?
I'm sorry?
I was just reminded of Kunti's prayers, where she was talking about how she wants to be detached from Vrishnis and things. So I was very confused at that point of time that why is she saying she has to be detached? Sorry. But I was just thinking that she said that she wants to be detached to them because on the base of bodily concept, but she wants to be attached to them because they are part of Krishna. When I first read that, I was like so confused. Why should she wants to be detached? But when I understood the real meaning, so that way we can be attached and detached at the same time. I just wanted to add that.
Yes, Deha Pashabinam Chindi. So it's a very subtle differentiation. She wants to cut that attachment, that affection that's based on bodily identification, but not that we cut all attachment, just that part where the sentiment isn't based on service to Krishna. And someone might, and there's no coldness in there. Actually, relationships that are based on Krishna, even husband, wife, parents, children, they're much, much deeper. You may say, oh, with love and thanksgiving and, getting together for all these things, Hey, I worked in the airport for years and I saw people going home for Thanksgiving, and it was, so many people dreaded going to see their parents, their family. It's a very traumatic experience, visiting people. And when you finally get there, it's very superficial because it's based on false ego. Oftentimes children are disappointed. They go to see their parents, trying to impress them. I just got a degree or whatever it is. And, maybe the parents are envious of them. They're like, why'd you get a degree? And, I never got one. Why'd you have to get one? On the material platform, there's unlimited room for discord and actual non-appreciation. But if it's based on Krishna consciousness, then it's a much, much deeper relationship. Thank you for bringing that up. That's a pivotal verse in understanding this. There's another one in the 5th chapter of the 5th canto of the Bhagavatam, in which Rishabhadev says that the householders they work together with family members, but their mentality is that we're doing this for a higher cause, and therefore they're perfectly situated.
Maharaj,
Yes?
Dhanavad Pranam. Just a quick
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Well, isn't that a colorful household you live in? It's very beautiful.
So
Nice
humble.
color coordination, light coming through, green plants. How nice. Please go ahead, Prabhu.
Maharaj, I've been realizing like it's a very important topic of, attachment versus detachment. So what's helping me as well is working in material life by being attached to spiritual life. Means attached in spiritual plane while working detached in the material plane. So that's kind of helping me through this process and kind of not get affected. Trying to, of course, I'm still learning through this process, but kind of helping me and giving me some positive outcomes out of it. Like continuously thinking and reminding myself of that, stay attached to the spiritual plane while executing my job in the material place, right? Does that make sense, Maharaj? Or?
Sure. So in the Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna gives this advice, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mama nusmara yujyacha mayarpita mano bhurir mami vaishyasya samshaya. He's telling Arjuna, you got to do your duty as a warrior. So that's his job. He said, but at the same time, you should think of me. And in the purport, Prabhupada says, so everyone has to work. And how are you going to remember Krishna at the same time? He said, you have to chant Hare Krishna. That part should be there in your life. And then Krishna says later in the Gita, or earlier actually, he says, Brahmanyadaya karmani sangam tyakva kurotiya lipitena sapapena padma patram ivambasa. Even though you're in the world, just like a lotus is in the water, if you're offering whatever you're doing to Krishna, in other words, the result is coming, but you're saying, this isn't for me, this is for Krishna, and you're giving the result to Krishna, then he said, you're not touched. Lipitena sapapena, you don't get that karma that everybody else does. You're not being contaminated by it. So we have to work in the world, we have to use our senses and so forth, and we have different propensities. And if we don't engage in those propensities, then we're going to be artificially restrained. So we need to do that, but at the same time, remember Krishna. So one of the best ways is to offer the result to Krishna. And whatever we get in material life, for instance, at home, we need to have a deity. And then we offer the house, the money, everything, it belongs to the deity. The food, if you're growing food, then you bring it in and you offer to Krishna first. And you only take the prasad. And then whatever money, it's not simply for hoarding, but it's actually to use so that you can engage in Krishna's service, and you should give a portion of it to Krishna. Every month something should go out that keeps you in that clear understanding that this isn't just for me. And it's coming from Krishna anyway, so I should depend on him by giving it to him also. So these are very practical matters. Thank you for bringing it up. Good to see you. Hare Krishna. And now we're going to have a kirtan to finish this morning. And we'll have the Guru Puja. Namasheshtam manamapi shachiputramatra sarupam shirupam tasyagrajam urupari matarim goshtavatim Radha kundam girivaramoho radhika madhavasham Prapto yasya pratitikupaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi. Hey Guru Gyanada Dina Bandho Swananda Data Karanaika Sindho Vrindavana Sida Hitavatar Prasida Radha Pranaya Prachara. Hey Dina Bandho Karanaika Sindho Kuru Prasada Mai Mandamudhe Laksha Parade Bahupapagade Tatpada Padme Stu Matishta Krishne. I bow down to the beautiful lotus feet of my spiritual master, by whose causeless mercy I have obtained the supreme holy name, the divine mantra, the service of the son of Shachimata, the association of Srila Swarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami, and his older brother Sanatan Goswami, the supreme abode of Mathura, the blissful abode of Vrindavana, this divine Radhakunda and Govardhan Hill, and the desire within my heart for the loving service of Sri Radhika and Madhava in Vrindavan. O spiritual master, O giver of divine wisdom, O friend of the fallen, you are the giver of your own bliss, and you are the only ocean of mercy. Although dwelling in Vrindavan, you have descended for the welfare of fallen souls like myself, and you are preaching the divine love of Radha for Krishna. Please be kind upon me. O friend of the lowly, O Gurudev, you are the only ocean of mercy. I am a dull fool and have committed hundreds of thousands of offenses. I have fallen into a dense myriad of sins. Therefore grace me with your mercy so that my mind may be fixed on your lotus feet and on Sri Krishna. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. Our only wish is to have our consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens our darkened eyes and fills our hearts with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us a shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. Sri Guru Charana Padma Vivalabha Kati Sadma Bando Mui Savadhanamate Jahara Prashade Bhai Bhavato Riya Jai Krishna Prapti Hoy Jai Te Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitte Te Koriya Aikya Anagori Ho Maniyasha Shri Guru Charane Rati Eshe Uttama Gati Triprashare Pure Sarva Asha Shri Prashade Pure Sarva Asha Chakudan Diloje Janme Janme Prabhushe Dibya Gyan Vere Prokashito Prema Bhakti Ja Hoite Abidya Vinasha Jate Diregai Jahara Charito Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu Lokana Lokira Divana Ha Prabhu Koradoya Deho Mure Pana Jaya Ebe Jash Kushik Tribhuvana Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shatyarishatadine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Kali Kukur Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Kali Kukur Kadam Jadi Chao He Kali Kukur Kadam Jadi Chao He Kali Juga Pavana Kali Poi Nashana Shri Sachinandana Gao He Kali Juga Pavana Kali Poi Nashana Shri Sachinandana Gao He Gadadhar Madhan Nitaya Pranatan Advaita Pujita Gaura Nimani Vishambhar Srinivas Ishwar Bhakta Samua Chitta Chora Nariya Shashadar Maya Purishwar Nam Pravartana Shura Vihijana Shikshaka Vastikula Nayaka Madhava Radha Bhavapura Sarvabhauma Shodhana Gajapati Tarana Ramananda Poshana Veera Rupananda Vardana Shanatana Palana Haridas Mudhana Dira Brajaras Pavana Dushamata Shana Kapati Vikatana Kama Shuddha Bhakta Palana Shiksha Jnana Tarana Jalabhakti Bhushana Rama Kali Kukur Kadam Jari Chao He Everybody Kali Kukur Kadam Jari Chao He Kali Kukur Pavana Kali Boy Nashana Shri Sachinandana Gao He Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Bolo Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Whoa! Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna. Haribo, Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Haribo, 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 Haribo. Tai Gaur Premanande, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki, Shri Harinam Mahamantra Ki, Shri Harinam Prabhu Ki, Gaur Premanande,
Hari Haribo!
Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo, Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Haribo. Jayam Vishnupat Paramhamsa Privrajaka Stotra Shrimad Abhay Charanada Vinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupat Paramhamsa Privrajaka Stotra Shrimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Kodi Vaishnavindi Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Zakaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Ki Jai.
Yay!
Shri Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Jamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Samveda Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Gaura Premanande Hari Haribo. Okay. Now, let's see if we have any announcements. Wait a minute. There's Vrinda. Show us one of your cards, if you don't mind. Vrinda's using this card system. I'll let you speak for yourself. Ooh, look at that.
I wrote the verse on the top and then the word to word for each word.
Let's see that verse again. Evam prasanna manaso bhagava. Oh, nice. So you have it in green, and then the word for word is in kind of a black, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Fantastic. And how's it working out for you?
It really helps me understand the translations for each verse.
And as far as memorizing the verses?
Yeah.
Dennis had given us that little thing about, looking at it at intervals and things like that. So who would have guessed good old index cards still work, right?
Yes.
The internet and stuff. It's good. Thank you very much for sharing that.
Thank you.
That's really helpful. Malini or SKP, are you on the call?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhuji.
Gaur Premanande Haribol, my obeisances to you.
Prabhu, so we have been having these continental calling parties every Saturday 2 to 4. And devotees actually are just getting started during the parties. And the effect is going out throughout the week. And devotees have become so expert in presenting Srimad Bhagavatam and the stories that they are sharing. It is so inspiring. And I spoke to quite some devotees this week, telling them about our goal for Bhaktivinoda Thakur Monthly Sankirtan Festival. It is a festival where we want at least 300 devotees to participate in book distribution. And our goal is the devotees try to distribute at least 2 Bhagavatam sets or any other set if they like. And the moment I said this, immediately they started thinking, oh, I know who I can distribute it to. They started making lists in their mind, and they said they've used phone books. And I heard from few devotees back because they've already tried. Sonal Mataji, I just spoke to her on Wednesday, and Thursday she sent me a text message saying, I already distributed 2 sets, I'm trying a third one.
Haribo!
And then Rasika Mataji spoke to Nikunja Sundari Mataji, and then she distributed 3 Bhagavatam sets in just a day.
Wow.
And I see that devotees have become so expert in presenting Srimad Bhagavatam that they can present books to anybody and everybody. So it's so inspiring to see that.
If you were to say what the elements of their presentation that you're considering to be expert are, is it the flow? Is it the information they're giving? Is it the way they're talking about it? What would you say were the top 3 elements of an expert presentation on Srimad Bhagavatam?
The first thing what I felt was that they already know the books, which means they read the books. So it's easy flow for them to present Srimad Bhagavatam. The second part is that they're actually able to tell about Bhagavatam through their personal realizations. So they're just sharing 1 or 2 things that help them by reading Srimad Bhagavatam. So these are the top 2, Prabhuji, that I felt that um, that's why they're so expert. And third thing is because they listen to you regularly for hours, like maybe 2 hours on Wednesday, 2 hours on Saturday. That gives them an ear to hear the message, and they just want to share that with others also, that they should also hear. So these are the 3 things I felt.
Malini, if you could, if one comes to your mind, like a practical example of something, somebody read the books and then they share it with somebody, like what kind of things would those be? What level is that on? Can you think of anything, you've shared that's really practical, like how this changed my life, or that you've heard from others, or if others are on the call and they can say, this made a difference to me and I shared it and it made a difference to somebody else?
Yes, Prabhuji. So recently, I think I shared this video of Abhijit presenting Bhagavatam set to some of his acquaintances, and the thing that he said was that when he's learning these books, um, you're explaining to him in a way that he understood, like in a bits and pieces way. Similarly, the devotees are also sharing the same thing to others in the way they understand, and people are able to appreciate that very much. And they're seeing that their lives have been transformed in a good way. People are seeing that they're developing leadership qualities. They are able to develop compassion that they should share with others. So I think this actually is helping other people also to understand the value of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yeah, I saw that video of Abhijit. It was really good. He just told us his personal experience. So if I understand you correctly, that's one of the, that's like the fulcrum is really read Bhagavatam and tell what you're feeling. And if it's a realization that you're having, it has resonance with the others who are listening to it because it's real. It's coming from your own personal realization, right?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Personal realizations are the ones which go straight into their heart. It's not just the amount of presentation that you give, but
Yeah.
if you even tell them a little bit, but just give 1 or 2 personal realizations that actually go straight into their heart.
That's something everyone can do. You don't have to conjure anything. You just tell really how it's changed you. You just share how it made a difference, right?
Yes, Prabhuji. And also, like what I say and what others also are saying is that it's not that we are experts. We finished reading the entire Bhagavatam ourselves, and we are trying to teach them. But instead, we are also students. We are learning, but as we are learning, we are sharing it with them. So it's like not that we are teaching them, but we are sharing and we are learning from each other's experiences.
Oh, that's nice. That's very helpful to adjust the way that we are presenting to them. It's not condescending. It's more, we're in this with you because you're an elevated personality, which they are, that we're just sharing with you what we have so you can share with others and share with your families and things like that. Thank you.
I just
Very
wanted to
helpful.
share one thing.
Yes.
So I had recently spoken to a person who is doing her pediatrics, and I had just mentioned to her that I'm not a doctor, but I'm a paramedic. So when I took my pediatrics in my second year in college, I read the Bhagavatam, and the first thing that really struck me, which one of my friend was reading, and she told me, is there's so much more detail of neonatology in Bhagavatam than anything else. And she looked at me and she said, "Okay, I'll get the set. How do I do it?" So I said, "Yeah, this is what you do." So I just wanted to share that, yes, sometimes, I mean, that is the way I got to Krishna consciousness, when I had all these questions and my friend, in college told me. So I think, yeah, that I totally agree. Yeah, that really helps.
So there's, for the people have different levels or categories of interest. And if you bring up and connect that to the Bhagavatam, for instance, if somebody's interested in medical science or physics or astronomy, and all those kinds of things are represented throughout the Bhagavatam. And those are things that you can bring up, right? Thank you.
We also, I was sharing this with my family members. We have a small group where we are reading Bhagavatam regularly. And in that group, there are devotees of, there are people of different practices that they're doing. One follows the Shankaracharya's path, and one follows Ramanujacharya's path. And when we are all reading Bhagavatam together, we could see that how Bhagavatam brings everybody to a common platform. There is nothing to disagree about Srimad Bhagavatam, and there is no question because it's so clearly explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, and everybody is able to relate it. So I feel this is one book which can bring people from different paths, different religions, or even different countries together. And I felt that it is true what Srila Prabhupada says, that this will bring re-spiritualization in this society.
And I just thought, Nigama Kalpataru Galitam Palam. It's a Kalpataru. Everyone has a desire, can fulfill the desire, right?
Yes.
That's profound. That's really, this is such important work that you're all doing, is reading Bhagavatam and propagating Bhagavatam, and just in the attempt to give it to other people, sharing. You please Krishna very much, because he's, even as he says in the Bhagavad-Gita, that those who are trying to share with the devotees this same knowledge are the most dear to me. So it's a very high sadhana, a very high sadhana. Shraddha, you have a point. I can tell by the way you're smiling. No, okay. Okay, so what should we do, Malini? What's yes?
Hare Krishna, Kameshwari here.
Hare Krishna.
So, Prabhuji, one quick thing I wanted to share. So every Friday we are just doing some small sessions for the kids and parents. And yesterday, actually, everything was done by kids. They presented the Bhagavatam, and the parents shared what they are doing. So basically, we made the all the families who are doing with the kids, we made them available over the call so that everybody can see their first-hand experience and hear from them. And it was really nice and impressive to see the kids. I mean, some of the devotees, they were saying, I just keep hearing from the kids again and again. Please do this again, and we want to hear from them. And especially, I want to share Vinit Prabhu from Seattle. They are trying to build. They already have a team of kids. They are reading together and trying to distribute books. And we were doing some sessions for them. And then yesterday, when they saw the kids do the real thing, and they said, this is the best we saw so far. I mean, we can share what we are doing, but they saw the action, like kids were presenting, and they heard them go through whole the presentation of Bhagavatam, and they really loved it. And I'm so grateful that all the families, what the time they're spending. I wanted to share one more point, what kids were mentioning, which is same as what we were discussing just now, you and Malini. The slides, there are few points covered, but the kids come up with some story that, oh, it's not there, but that's my favorite. It's not in the slide, but you can always add, and they want to share that story because that's something close to their heart. And it was really wonderful because, and we were mentioning that, yeah, this is just a small slides. You can add what you are reading every day. That's the best to communicate, and that's best comes out. So the overall experience was really nice. I just wanted to share that when kids do it, it was
Thank you very much, Kameshwari. And is that Lord Ramachandra sitting behind you?
oh yeah.
That picture, is that the same picture it used to be up in the old temple?
Yes, it's the same
It
picture.
was reminding me of the old days when we had that picture up there. I think Rohini Kumar brought that picture with him.
Yes.
That's amazing. Yeah, it reminds me how far we've come from those, those little dwellings we had before and a little effort in book distribution, and now it's grown by Lord Ramachandra's mercy. He's overseeing. That was really powerful what you just told us, confirming about, bringing in what your realizations are from reading. And also in the Bhagavatam, it's mentioned how when kids speak philosophy, everybody listens. When Krishna started telling his father and all the other people in the village that they should not do the Indra Yagya, and he gave all this philosophy, even though he was speaking nonsense, karma kanda and all this stuff, they all appreciate it because from the mouths of a child, when the philosophy comes out, there's a lot of emotions people have, like, I wish my kids could do this. And they also think, like, if these kids could do it, what happened to me? And why am I wasting my life? And it's very potent, So the kids are the secret weapon of the Sankirtan movement. Thank you very much for all the service you've done. It just reminded me, seeing that picture, how many years, decades you've given to expanding the Sankirtan movement. Hare Krishna. Okay. What should we do, Malini?
Prabhuji, so today again, we have 2 to 4 p.m. We have Continental Calling Party. So we request everyone to come and join and get some inspiration. And actually last week, Kameshwari and I were talking, and she was sharing that generally when we were going door to door, we used to go in different teams. One team goes to Fremont, one goes to Sunnyvale, different areas. We never got a chance for all of us to distribute books together. So this Continental Calling Party is a place where we all can see each other. We are distributing books together. So this is a wonderful opportunity.
Are you saying that just like when Lord Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill, that's the only time when all of the devotees got to enjoy rasa with Krishna all at the same time? Otherwise, they were all divided in different times of the day and night, and they weren't all together. So maybe this COVID thing is like we're under Govardhan Hill right now, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Krishna's protecting us, holding up the hill.
Yes,
That's really
yes,
beautiful.
Prabhuji.
Yeah, that togetherness.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
And when
So
I
this
hear
is
the
the
word
time.
Continental Calling Party, reminds me of continental plates that shift and continental shift. It's a momentous time, and it's a huge project getting together everybody at the same time. It's really giving us a chance to unite. Okay, so 2:00 we can all sign in, and we can call people, right?
Yes, Prabhuji. And if there's one more request, that if devotees are already doing this, maybe they can share this with others and inspire them also to come join the party, or just get them oriented for this as well.
Okay, bring your friends onto the Continental Calling Party, even if it's just for a little while, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Okay,
Thank you so
sounds
much,
good.
Prabhuji.
And we're going to be experimenting this week with doing some advertising on the social media and things like that to attract and create more leads. We're looking at different ways of doing that, so we'll let you know the results of that experiment very soon.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank you so
Krishna.
much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Avantika,
Hare Krishna.
can you tell us anything about the prayer that we say? Sharir Advidjal. What do you think of when you chant that prayer? What is the The meaning of it.
So it talks about how the tongue is the most difficult sense to control, and the best way for us to control it is by taking prasadam.
Do you find that to be true?
Yes.
Is it harder to control the tongue when you're under lockdown?
No, I think it's actually easier.
It's easier, huh?
Because you only have prasadam and good things around you.
That's the main thing. Nice. Thank you. So who are some of the cooks who have been making prasadam?
Okay, Hare Krishna, today's prasadam was cooked by Ananda Mataji, Bhaktivatsal Prabhu, Hari Sankirtan Prabhu, Hansa Priya Mataji, Radha Vallabh Prabhu, Radhika Prema Mataji, Rupa Sri Vasudha Mataji, Rohini Shamakarna Mataji, Shama Bhakta Prabhu, and Tadiya Seva Prabhu.
Haribo! Thank you very much. Sharirad Vijaja Jotindriya Tahika Jive Pile Vishaya Shagore Dharma Jidi Bhakti Loba Mosu Durmati Nitai Gauda Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Nitai Bo Hari Bo Nitai Gauda Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo. Please come take prasadam. Hare Krishna. And for those who distribute the most Bhagavatam sets today, we have this new bumper sticker. Sharks don't merge. Or ignorance is awkward. You can display on your car or bicycle. Hare Krishna. Can everyone please unmute and say Hare Krishna? Hare Krishna. Everyone's muted.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Rama. Hare Krishna. Gaur Premanande.
Hare Bo.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Kripasnave Vacha Patitanam
Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah.
Haribo.
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 Krishna.